All right, welcome back to another episode of the Lady Shock Squad. I'm Chad. He's Brad. He always reminds me all the time that the B comes before the C. So it's
That's right.
Brad and Chad here with Paladin Strategies bringing you episode 3 of the Lady Shock Squad. And Brad, what are you looking forward to in this episode?
Oh man, this is my jam here. This is women's basketball. I coached women's basketball for how long? Double-digit years. Let's put it that way.
Just
And,
one or two years.
And so not only in college at Barclay College, it's out here in Haviland, Kansas. But then one of the greatest things I ever did was coach junior high girls.
Yeah, make sure you're
basketball.
talking to the mic.
Oh yeah, my bad. And coaching
we got to
junior
remind
high-
Brad of that
yeah, we
because
do.
he gets going and he forgets he's got to speak into the
But
mic.
coaching junior high girls basketball and just so much fun. And so I'm excited to talk basketball with Ella.
So but before we
yeah.
bring our guest in,
My
like
bad,
you said,
my
you
bad.
coach basketball. Were you any good at coaching basketball? People can coach.
Yeah,
but
I
were you a
mean, I
good
think
coach?
I think at the end of the day, that's pretty subjective. Let's put
if
it
I
this
asked
way.
if I asked some of the players' parents,
I don't know. I would like to think that they thought I did a good job.
I personally like your tie flip. That was my favorite.
Yeah,
watching.
I did retire as the all-time wins leader at Barclay College.
There you
women's
go.
Basketball, and
That's
in
what
the junior
counts.
high level, won a few championships.
That's what counts. All right. Well, with that, we're going to bring our guest on today. Brad alluded to it. We have Wichita State women's basketball player, Ella Anciaux.
Yes.
And
Awesome.
there's Ella right there. Ella, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you guys? Thanks for having me on.
We're super excited to have you
Yeah,
on,
we are.
Brad. Like I said, Brad said, basketball is
This is
Brad's
my
jam. So
Yeah.
he's loving this. So why don't you tell everybody just briefly, I mean, we'll get into some of it a little bit later, but just give everybody just a brief background of Ella and where you came from and where you're at today. Oh, did we lose you?
Are you guys still there? Yeah, I couldn't hear anything for the past little bit.
That's all
There you
right.
go.
No, we're good. Hey, that's part of it,
That's
and
part
so
of
we're
it.
fine. So, hey, just tell everybody a little bit about just a real quick background. We'll get into some of it a little bit deeper later, but just tell everybody a quick background about where you're from and where you're at today.
Okay, so I am from Kansas, born and raised. I was born in the Overland Park, Olathe area. So my family still lives there today, and then moved to Wichita when I was pretty young, and I've lived here ever since. And so I'm really blessed that I'm able to play here at Wichita in my hometown and be surrounded by my family and friends, people that I've grown up with. Just have so many supporters, and such a fun part continuing to be a part of this community.
Yeah, and we're gonna get into that for sure. That's very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, yeah, so I think so we did have some technical difficulties earlier. So
Yes,
not in this one, but today. So it's been an interesting day already. So.
Yes.
We've been having a good time. So we normally have a screen that's in front of us that we can watch straight forward, and we don't have that today. So if you see us kind of looks like we're looking down, it's because we're looking at you on the iPad as part of
Okay.
that. So we're listening. We're just looking
We
at the
are.
iPad because that's our view. We're trying to remember to look forward, but
And I'm terrible at remembering to look
Yeah.
forward because I'm such a relational
No
guy
worries.
that I'm like
Yes.
I wanna have this eye contact and stuff. So yeah, it's crazy.
yeah.
Definitely.
All right,
I got
so-
you. No worries.
All right.
So jump right in. Like, let's talk about the fact, like, basketball practice has been going on for a little bit. You guys are getting closer to your first game coming up. Like, what have you been excited about the most going into this year as practice started and you're getting ready for your first game?
Yeah, definitely. Like you said, we're really in the full swing of things, about a month into our full time in season practices. So I think I was just really excited. I feel like freshman year was a lot of learning, obviously, a lot of adjusting, and yeah, just a lot of learning. So I feel like this year, and especially over the off season, I've absorbed most of what I need to absorb. Sometimes I joke with my coach that I can finish her sentences. She's pretty simple with what she does. She has her things um, that are important to her and her coaching philosophies. So I feel like now that I know those by heart, it's been a lot easier for me to work on specifics of things that I want to get better at. And so that's been really good for me to be able to develop as a player and keep working on more specific like skill development things. So
Yeah.
I was really excited to do that over the off season. I've been working really hard on a lot of that stuff, and then now working on team chemistry, especially in practice, especially with some new faces.
So
Love that. Love that.
and there's a couple things I want to hit on with some of that stuff there. First being, like, you talk about, working hard in the off season. What has been the biggest adjustment from coming out of high school into your freshman year of college, and then getting that experience last year, and now being prepared for your sophomore year? So what kind of, from a
Yeah,
preparation standpoint, what's been the biggest adjustment?
I would say two of the biggest adjustments. Obviously, our style of play is fast. Play fast,
Mm-hmm.
we run, and just the college game in general
Mm-hmm.
is quicker, more fast paced.
Mm-hmm.
People always say that, but I don't think it's something that you can really prepare for until you're in it.
Yep.
Yeah.
And even then, once you're in it, there's always improvements that can be made.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, as a post player, I think just strength and conditioning in general have been major focuses. Working on my endurance, being able to run faster for longer, get quicker, outrun people down the floor, and then
Mm-hmm.
being strong in the paint because we go against a lot of very strong, very talented players.
Yeah.
So I'm also really lucky that in practice I get to go against our fifth year senior, Trajada Colbert.
Mm-hmm.
She's a powerhouse. She
Yeah.
is a powerhouse. That's one of the only ways to put it. And I am lucky that I get to kind of battle against her because um, it's a great way for me to practice against
Yep.
somebody like her so that I can prepare for the game. So yeah, strength and
Yeah.
conditioning for sure were a big adjustment from high school.
Oh wow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I love what you said there, where you were like, you can think about the things that you need to work on and whatnot, but until you experience it, you are exactly right.
Yeah,
Um, I have a saying that I used to say all the time. I'm like, until you do it, you just don't know.
Yeah.
And
yeah, for sure.
uh, I can tell you, I can plead with you, get in the weight room. I can plead with
Hmm.
you, put in extra time running. I can plead with you, da 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 da. But to be honest with you, I'm just wasting my time, because until you get in there and until
Yeah.
you experience it and realize that it's we are up and down the floor constantly.
Hmm.
You are constantly, especially you as a post player, you are going to be banging bodies, against people constantly. And
Yeah,
the
definitely.
stronger you are, the faster you are, all that stuff. So I love the fact that you said until you experience it, it's hard to prepare for.
Is the
Yeah, definitely.
is the physicality significantly different than what it was in high school? I mean, I feel like you go watch a high school game and there's a little bit of bumping and then a foul called, and Brad's talking about, bodies banging in
Mm-hmm.
college, and you're talking about that. Like, is there a big physicality difference as an inside player in college versus high school?
Yeah, I would say definitely. I feel like in high school, and honestly, especially just being my height as well,
Mm-hmm.
there weren't many people that I had to go against that were taller than me or stronger than
Right.
me. So I really could just, especially with my like the diversity of my post moves,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have to diversify that very much. I just would score the way that I scored,
Yeah,
and
Go right
yeah,
up over
and
people. Yep.
people would have to double and triple team
yeah,
me
Right.
because they didn't have anybody my height. So I
yeah,
would say it's definitely been an adjustment for me and something I'm still working on. Trying to be more creative with the ways that I score in the paint because
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it is definitely more physical. And then it also plays the part where you just have to take care of your body better.
Mm-hmm.
You have to make sure that you're getting proper rest, recovery, nutrition because we do get beat up and
yeah.
we get beat up a lot.
Yep.
And so we have to make sure that we're taking care of ourselves, otherwise we don't recover properly.
So have you been working on, when you talk about being creative with your scoring in the paint, like the very first thing that comes to my mind when I think of kind of a post player and their creativeness and scoring abilities is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's hook shot. So
Yeah, you got that
you
in
got
your
your hook shot in
you
your
got that in your
repertoire? Or?
arsenal.
I'm working on it.
Yeah.
Honestly, the hook
Sweet.
shot, just because of the angle
Mm-hmm.
has never been my strong suit, but
Yeah.
I'm
Mm-hmm.
working on it. I'm
Yeah.
also some of my favorites post moves, up and under.
Mm-hmm.
We work on spin moves a lot. But just using shot fakes, head fakes, even just
Yep.
like the
Yeah.
small little motion of like turning your head to just make the defense move a little
Oh
bit.
my goodness, I'm gonna
Um,
cry. I'm gonna cry.
really,
This is so good. This is so good. People
yeah,
don't
really just
If
realize
you,
it's
working.
that little stuff, or just
yeah,
showing the
Yeah,
ball.
definitely.
Like if I
Hmm.
catch it here and I'm going to the left, but if I show the ball to the right, the defense immediately moves, and just that
Yeah,
3 inches, and you can
yeah.
turn your
yeah.
shoulder, go right up. Oh my gosh, I'm gonna cry. This is so good. If
Yeah,
you,
so for me, it's really just been slowing down to take the time to like
yes,
feel the
yes,
defense
yes.
and then work from there. That's something I've really been working on because especially in game situations, I find it that it's easy for me to get more sped up.
Oh yeah,
So
For sure.
just
yeah.
trying to work on slowing down and
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
executing the moves that I've practiced so much.
Yep.
Which is crazy interesting, right? And I don't think, and maybe you can allude to it, and Brad can a little bit as well, but I don't think people understand the nuances. So in the same conversation, right? You talk about how the pace of the game is much quicker, right? But at the same time, it's the discussion of, but I've got to adjust to this quicker pace, but I've got to learn to slow down
Right.
and
Yeah,
really just slow
definitely.
down with what you're doing with the ball. And
Mm-hmm.
so how, talk a little bit about just that piece of the fact that the pace is so much quicker, but you've still got to
Yep.
just slow down.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, I would say that it's definitely something that I'm still working on. I don't have it mastered or
Mm-hmm.
anywhere close. Big thing that I've been working on this off season and then during practice is just, yeah, taking that time to slow down. I need to move quickly. I need to get up and down the court as quickly as I can. I
Mm-hmm.
need to work on my conditioning, work on my speed. But at the same time, once I'm down in the paint, once I have the ball, that's when
Mm-hmm.
it's time for me to take a deep breath, slow down, and go to work
Yeah.
down there.
Yep. That's yeah, I once again, and not to give all of my secrets away here as a coach, but I used to say all the time, play fast but not in a
Yeah.
hurry. Play
Yeah,
fast but not in a hurry.
that's one of my dad's favorite sayings.
Yes, yeah, and I don't
Yeah.
know who I heard it from. I mean, it's not an original, obviously,
Yeah.
but I don't know which coach was saying it, but it just registers because when you go to do something and you make up your mind, hey, this is where I'm going to go. Whether it's my post move, whether it's I'm gonna ball fake and drive, whatever those different things are, do it and do it fast. But the thought process part of it, don't get sped up in your thinking.
Yeah.
Think about your stuff, and so I love that. Play fast, but not in a hurry.
Definitely.
Do you have any okay, so if anybody goes to your bio and reads it at
Yeah.
GoShockers.com, they will see that you were rated the number 3 prospect in the state of Kansas by World Exposure. Does that drive you at all? Do you ever you know what, that's fine. They rated me number 3 coming out of high school,
Yeah,
but
those
now that
other two.
now that I'm in college, I'm going to show them that I'm actually number 1.
Honestly, I I don't know. I never paid much attention to all those rankings and things. I
Do you
think
even
You're
know
one
who
of the
the
first
two above
times,
you are?
I would assume in my age division, that Peyton Verhulst was up there.
Okay.
Um, but I'm not sure who the other one is.
Okay.
you're
Um,
gonna, you're Brad. You were gonna make Brad cry. I mean, you're gonna make me cry by it. It's refreshing to have an athlete that's
I'm just gonna go take care of my
I
business.
really don't pay attention to that. I'm gonna
Yeah.
go do
yeah,
me and do what I can
I mean, I
do.
would see things on Twitter. I would see them, but honestly, I feel like as a post player specifically, a lot of the times I would not be included in a lot of those lists.
Oh yeah,
And so
yeah,
Wow.
I had to learn to not let it affect me and
yeah,
really not pay much attention to it. Because if I let every little thing affect me, then unless I'm using it as like a driving force and for fuel to the fire, then
Right.
yeah.
it's not going to affect me positively.
Right.
Um, so I would say the only thing there is that, yeah, I would use that as fuel to keep getting better. But other than that, I wouldn't say that I pay a ton of attention to it.
Good.
I feel like there's we don't have one of these. I don't see one of these emojis or anything on here, but I feel like that's a mic drop point right there.
Right.
Look, I don't. It doesn't affect me. Boom, mic
Right.
drop.
Right.
I'm gonna go do me.
Yeah,
This is
I
awesome.
Yeah.
play at Wichita State, and I'm getting better every day. and you're gonna
Yeah.
regret. You're gonna regret coming up against me. I like it. I like it.
Yeah, that's awesome.
So there we go.
Talk about your time at Cape and Mount Carmel, right? So 2-time first team All States, right? You right here.
Yeah.
You're at the free throw line. So I guess my
Yeah.
first question is: Shaquille O'Neal free throw shooter or
Yeah.
better than Shaquille O'Neal?
I would like to consider myself better. Definitely, I didn't have the best percentage last year as a freshman, but I work on my free throws a lot. I think part of that was in-game nervousness as a freshman.
Oh yeah. Oh
So
yeah.
I'm feeling a lot more comfortable with that. And in high school, I was a pretty good free throw shooter. So this game actually was my last high school game. It was our sub-state game versus Andover Central. So one of my best friends, Bailey Wilborn, who's now playing at University of Wyoming. I was playing
Okay.
against her and a bunch of some other friends on that Andover Central team.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was my last high school game. So that's kind of crazy.
So bringing up memories, kind of like this one right here. I bet this was a good memory.
Yeah, yeah, that was a great day. So I I had found out a couple weeks before that I was even anywhere close to 1,000 points. I think
Oh
my
wow.
my coach was actually on top of it, and he told me I think around when I was about like 900 points, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we had obviously enough games left in the season for me to get there. So
Yeah.
just kind of wanted to make me aware of that. And then it was so fun that during this game, I think it was a Saturday game, kind of a random one out of nowhere,
Yeah, that's weird.
um, and yeah, we ended up having and my coach called a timeout after I made my 1,000th point, and they gave me the game ball, which I still have, and
Very cool.
got to take pictures. And obviously, my very loving and supportive family was there. My both sets of my grandparents, and
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it was really a special day. They made me those signs, obviously, as you see. And
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
it was very sweet,
I
very
think
fun
anybody that
memories.
gets 1,000 points in high school, I mean, that's a big thing. Like that's not
Yeah.
easy to
No,
do
not at all.
by anybody. And
Not at all.
so I'm gonna pick on the picture a little bit here. So is that your mom and dad in the picture?
Yes, those are my parents.
Okay, so I think this is either
Yeah.
A, deceiving, which I'm not sure that it's deceiving. So how tall are you?
I'm 6'4",
And
Okay.
so in this
and
picture, how
then
tall were you?
I believe the same height. I don't think I've
Okay,
grown.
so you're 6'4". It looks like your dad
Mhm.
is taller. Deceptively,
Yes.
originally, my thought process was, oh, you get your height from your dad's side of the family because look how short your
Yeah.
mom is.
Right.
But like your mom's got to be like almost 6 feet.
Yeah, my mom is 5'9" and my dad is 6'6".
There you
Yeah.
go.
So my mom
That's tall.
is actually tall. It's just comparatively when she's
Right.
standing next to
Yeah.
to my dad and I, it does
Right.
make her look a little bit shorter, but she is 5'9".
Yeah. And if you look at like in this one here,
Yeah.
like on the far left, I'm assuming that's
Yeah.
are
That's Will.
that's
That's Will.
Will. Okay.
Yeah.
Is
Yes,
he the
that's my brother
oldest?
Will.
No,
No,
he's
I'm the
younger,
You're
I
the
oldest.
think.
oldest. You're the oldest. Okay.
Yeah,
So
I'm the
he's
oldest.
He's still at
So,
he's
yeah,
still
he's the
he's
one
still
going to K
he's a
State.
yeah.
senior.
Yeah.
Yeah, he is a senior this year. So
Okay.
it goes me first on the far right, then
Mm-hmm.
Will's on the far left.
Yeah.
Then Nick is right next to me.
Yeah.
And then Adeline is in the
Okay.
striped dress, and then
Yeah.
Greta's in the red dress, and then Grady's the youngest. And
Wow.
Okay.
yeah, he's with my
So
parents.
so
6 of you. Love it.
I mean, look
Yep.
how tall Will looks. I mean, like
Oh,
he's
Yes,
he's
kneeling
tall.
Will
down.
Will is Will is 6'6", pushing 6'7".
Wow.
Merry
And
Christmas.
this picture was taken last year.
It's
So
like the genetic
um
lottery.
Yeah.
They won the
And so
genetic
the youngest
lottery.
is Grady. Is that his name?
yes, Grady. And
So
he's little right now. He's 5. We always joke that the gene pool ran out and that he's gonna
Right.
end up being like 5'7".
Right.
but he's going to get the last laugh, and the reason
Right.
he's going to get the last laugh is because he's the baby of the family, and so he's
Mhm.
going to be way more spoiled than anybody else.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah, he has a great time. We love him, and I love that I'm so close to home. Takes me about 10
How,
minutes from campus,
Oh,
and
there you go.
I'm obviously very close with my family. It's
Very
really
cool.
yeah,
important to me to be around for my younger siblings, and just as they're growing up, I didn't want to miss too much. So it really just was the perfect opportunity for me to be able to play here at Wichita State, continue doing what I love and at a high level. and also be here with my family. It's really, really
So
special.
Love it.
where else were you? I mean, like, and you don't have to name all of them, but what are some other institutions that you were being recruited by?
Um, I had I talked to people in the Big 12. I talked to some
Okay.
Big 10.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see.
University of
I don't
Illinois.
remember.
University of
Yes,
Illinois.
Oh,
yes, that was
Oh
one of them.
man.
thank goodness you
That was
didn't
one of
go
them.
Yeah, no
there.
kidding. They were struggling. I think this new coach. See,
Yeah,
I'm an Illinois guy. That's where I come from.
yeah,
Is from Illinois.
Everybody
So
has problems.
yeah.
I do like our new coach. So anyway, that's cool.
Good.
So
That
I
is good.
well, and the reason I ask that is because it really, I mean, to me, it solidifies like just in our initial conversations with you, and I told Brad this one day when after one of the messages or something, I said, man, it is really cool that here you have a sophomore in college who is like, hey, this all sounds good, but I'm going to go run it past my parents, and I
Yep.
want to sit down and talk with my family and make sure
Yep.
that this is right. And I I kind of admired that,
I love it.
and told Brad that
Thank
I think
you.
this is great, and that's what tells you that how close, not that everybody's not close with their family, but I think that kind of stuck out. And so that's why I asked who else recruited you, because knowing those things, it kind of solidifies to me the significant role that I think it played in your decision making, just being close to your family and being able to have them
Yeah,
at home games. I mean, they can travel to home games, watch the games, and the little ones can still be back in bed at a decent time to go to school the next day.
exactly.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah, and I think one of my favorite pictures from last year is a picture of Grady at one of my games holding up a sign that says like "Let's go Ella, number 13," and he's down in the stands. So it's just stuff like that is so special to me. And yeah, I would say that having my family be here. Oh yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yes, there you
Yeah.
go.
Hey, this ain't our
So
first podcast.
Yeah, this is our
It's
third.
yeah,
our third with the
you
Lady
guys are
Shock
on
Squad.
top of
We are
it.
crushing this.
You guys are on top of it. So yeah, I would say that being close to my family definitely was a driving factor in my recruiting process, but also I didn't want to pick something just on that. For a while, I didn't know if I still wanted to be in Wichita. Like you hear about everybody
Yeah,
say like, oh, they wanted to branch out for college, go somewhere new for college, and I didn't really
sure.
know. So I had to kind of work and figure out what was really important to me. And I think it really, like I said, just lined up perfectly because I had the closest connections with the Wichita State coaching staff. Obviously, Coach Adams is amazing. I talked to
Right.
her a lot,
Yeah.
developed a relationship with her that has continued and grown as I've been here. And she's not the only one. I love all of our coaching staff, and so I really felt the most at home with them, and it just happened to work out that they were in my home, so
Love it.
it worked
Awesome.
out
Love
well.
it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Did you was it difficult for you to stop playing volleyball, stop playing
Yeah, that's a
softball?
Look
throwback
at that.
picture. Yeah, so I played volleyball only my freshman year in high school.
Okay.
I played softball my freshman and sophomore year. I would have loved to continue. I probably would have continued playing softball, but my junior year was COVID.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah,
it
yeah,
was
yeah.
also just tricky traveling. We would travel a lot in the spring for AAU tournaments and things.
Right. That's
So
true.
that
That's
got to
true.
be a little bit tricky. Just wanting to be committed to softball, but also knowing that I needed to be at some of the AAU tournaments for sure. Um, and then volleyball, I would have loved to continue playing volleyball. I love volleyball. I tell some of my friends on the Wichita State team all the time, I'm like, I'm just going to come play with you guys sometime
Right.
Yeah.
because I
I
think
bet you
it's so
could.
fun. Yeah. Thank you. And so watching them, it just reminds me like how much I did love volleyball. But
Like,
unfortunately, I had a coach that was not supportive of the fact that during the summer I needed to travel for some
Sure.
oh yeah.
important
Yep.
AAU tournaments.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so basically what she told me was that I needed to get my priorities straight. And I said, okay,
Okay.
sounds
I
good.
know. Thank
Thanks.
you. I
Thanks for
Yeah.
love
helping me
that.
make that an easy decision.
What did you
Yeah.
Appreciate
what
it.
So that was
position did you
unfortunate.
play? Yeah, no,
I
that's
was a middle
awesome.
hitter.
Okay. And
I
then
was
in
a middle
softball.
hitter. In softball, I was a pitcher.
Oh yeah.
So I feel
Yeah.
like
Boy, man, I've told this story. In fact, yesterday we were talking to Addie Bernard, not in a
Oh yeah.
podcast, but we were just talking on the, and I
Yeah, she's
I
great.
was joking about one time how I I was like, I was a
Embarrassed.
I was a pretty decent baseball player, and I went up against it was actually my uncle, who was a competitive fast pitch softball pitcher.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And he made me look goofy, and I, like I said, I took some
Yeah.
serious pride in being pretty good. I can't imagine, and he was like 5'8", but man, that had to have
Yeah.
been intimidating. 6'4", bringing that softball heat, I'd been like,
Yeah, I miss it. It was
I'm just
such a
gonna
fun
sit
time.
down.
Well, I
It was
think,
such a
and
fun
Amazing.
time.
Well, good.
I think my people are going to get tired of hearing this on these podcasts, but I have twins that go to Wichita State, and we haven't talked with you about that yet. But I have twins that are freshmen there this year, and
Yeah, I
one
think
of
you
them
mentioned it one time.
okay, yeah, one of them's catching for the softball team, a bullpen catcher there, and the other one's he's in a fraternity. But I'm gonna make sure and tell them like, hey, let me know if it's out of season and you guys are in some intramural volleyball.
Right.
Like I'm gonna tell them that they need to reach out and you need to be there.
Right.
Like
Yeah,
I mean,
that would be great.
you got a 6'4" middle hitter. Like that's gonna be a great. That's gonna be a great. Well, here's the significance of doing the
Yes.
travel
Yes.
basketball right
Look at
there,
that.
right?
Yeah,
How about talk about
definitely.
priorities? I love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this was one of
crazy.
my favorite tournaments that we went to. Obviously in 2019, this was our Tournament of Champions Nike in Chicago.
Yeah.
And so
Wow.
that was a really important tournament, and it's
Yeah.
experiences like that, honestly, that um, that's kind of the reason why I think some of my other sports just had to fall to the back burner because
Mm-hmm.
things like this were what I was prioritizing.
Yeah.
And I'm happy that I did. I have so many amazing experiences, so many people that I met um, through this that I'm still friends with to this day. And
Amazing.
that I'm so grateful for those relationships with coaches and just people that I've met along the way, places
Are
that I've gone. Yeah,
are
for
all
sure.
of those all of those young ladies right there? Are they all from the Wichita area?
No, actually, that
Okay.
team was based out of Kansas City.
Oh
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
that was Next Level Eclipse.
Okay.
So the coach is Coach John Lewis. He actually is the head coach at Mid American Nazarene
Oh yeah. Yep.
in
Yeah. I'm
yeah
not familiar with
in
him. I'm familiar with the school.
yeah
I took a beat down there
in the
more than
Overland
once.
Park area.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's the head coach there, and then a lot of those girls are Kansas City girls. I
Okay.
think all of them. So
Okay. Yep.
playing for that team, my parents, well, except for Bailey Wilborn, she was on that team with me as
Okay.
well, but
Yep. Yep.
we would, our parents were very dedicated and very willing to help us do what we needed to do, which I'm
Yep.
forever grateful for. And so Brady
'Cause
Wilborn,
that's a
Bailey's
3 hour
dad,
drive. Yep.
and my parents we would switch off when we needed to
Oh
go to
yeah.
practice, usually one time during the week and one time on a Sunday, and we would make a night out of it and go up, go for practice, and then come back and we would go to school the next day. So
Yep. Yeah.
um, that was a time when there was obviously a lot going on. But those are some of my favorite memories with that team from AAU basketball. I played with Next Level Eclipse for 2 years. So some of the
Yeah.
best tournaments that I played in, and we were successful. We had a lot of talent.
You'll never forget those memories, right?
No.
Like you'll
No.
never.
No.
I played
No.
travel baseball growing up, and
Yep.
my kids did, and
Yep. Yep.
like
Yep.
the
Yep.
thing that I tell teams today all the time, and parents and coaches when you see them around, like they'll play all these tournaments. Might be a Wichita team, and they play a lot of tournaments in or around or within an hour or so of Wichita, and I'm like, that's great, and the kids are going to remember that. But the thing that they're going to remember is the time that we took our team down to Mansfield, Texas, to play at what's called
Mhm.
Big League Dreams, which is replica
Yeah.
MLB stadiums, right? Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's what they're going to remember.
Right.
And so doing all those trips and going to Chicago and playing with and even the
For sure.
trips going up to practice and coming back, in the same night
Mhm.
are the things that
Yeah.
one day you're gonna tell your kids, like, I remember when I was a kid, we had to drive all the way
Yeah.
to Kansas City for practice, and
Right.
you go to
And it
school the
was
next
snowing.
day, and you're tired because you went to bed at 9 o'clock and don't want to go, like whatever.
Yeah,
Right.
that's so
Yeah,
funny. Yeah, but I would say some of my favorite memories
How
for
about
sure.
that memory?
Chicago. Oh my gosh, that picture is crazy. So what actually is funny is I ended up going to high school with two of these girls, the one in the middle holding the soccer ball,
Yeah.
and then you're not gonna believe this, but the girl right next to me, she might kill me for this picture. The girl right next to me is Clara Whitaker, and she's playing
Wait, which
tennis
one?
here.
On the
No
Sorry, to my
way.
right, the one to my right.
the one that's on the far end, or the one that's got the jacket
No,
on
the one with the jacket on and
with
the
the black jacket
pigtails.
on?
Yes.
Clara.
Oh, so
So
here, so
that's Clara.
we're working with Clara too, right? Like
Yep.
Yep.
she's
Yeah,
going to
that's
be
why I
on a
said she's gonna kill
podcast.
me for this picture.
Yeah, so we're going to save this picture and
Yes,
bring
she
that
is.
up on
She
Oh,
her
is
as
you're
well.
actually.
gonna
Look at that.
you're
She
gonna pull it
sent
up and she's
me.
gonna be like, "Where
Yeah.
did you get this?"
Yep.
Yeah.
Just 13 minutes ago, she
Yeah.
sent me a message.
We-
So she was answering a question.
We got
I
to
had
keep
sent
it a
her, so-
secret though. You can't
Oh,
tell
yeah,
her, and we
yeah.
won't
I
tell
won't
her, and
tell
we'll
her.
say, "So who is this picture?"
So we know Ella.
That's
Oh my
awesome.
gosh.
Yes.
That is
Yeah,
so
that's
awesome.
hilarious.
We'll spring that one on her. That's gonna be awesome.
Dude,
Oh
we're
my
I'm stoked
goodness.
about that.
That's
That's a
great.
good one. So how was the so we talked about it, right? Like my mother went to Bishop Carroll High School. Now,
Mhm.
what's crazy is they don't have the rivalry near as much because when Capon was first built, Capon was on the west side of town. And I actually had some of my mom was the youngest of 8. And some of her older, she had a sister that was 20 years older. And then between her sister and her was all boys, 6 boys. And so
Wow.
some of her older brothers actually went to Capon when it was on the west side of town. And then when it got moved east and then Carroll started, they started going to Carroll because we lived out west. So the rivalry,
Yeah.
like we don't, my mom and them weren't real hardcore into the rivalry between Capon and Carroll at all. But I'm
Yeah.
curious, what was it like to go to the stadium downtown
Yeah, that was
and
crazy.
watch the
Yeah.
game here a couple of weeks ago?
That was so fun. It was just honestly, there was so many people there. I think they said
Yeah.
about 8,500,
Yeah.
which was
Wow.
more than any of the
Anything
Wind
else?
Surge games, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Yeah, most people that have ever been in there.
Yeah.
And it was for a high school football game, so who would have thought?
Yeah.
But it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of energy. Obviously, I wish that
Yeah.
Capon would have won. It's been a long time since we've won a football game
Yeah.
against Carroll.
I couldn't believe that when I read that.
And
Yeah.
so, especially for my brother's senior year, I was hoping that it would be there for
Yeah.
them.
He did get a
But
touchdown though.
there's always he did, and so that's always a positive.
There you go.
And we've got another chance at him maybe in playoffs, so we'll see
okay.
how that all works out.
It probably feel like, I feel like for your brother losing to Carroll probably feels like, what's another example? Like, I don't know, maybe K-State losing to Tulane.
Oh my goodness, that was not good.
Yeah.
I was
So-
at that game actually.
Were
Were
you
you really?
really? Maybe
It
you
was
should stop going to
disappointing.
football games here, Ella.
Right.
The
Ouch.
trend.
That hurt.
Trend.
Yeah.
And so what I think is very cool is that we're getting the chance to work with you and do some stuff here as we get this ladies shock squad up and going, and and we're excited about that. We've got 6 great athletes right now that are going to be on our advisory council, our student leadership team, and that's going to be awesome right there. And what's really cool is there's only 2 of them are from the same sport, right? Like, so we've got
Yeah.
5 different female athletics or women's sports represented on that. But so we're excited to do that. But I mentioned that because it's crazy how life works. So I'm getting the opportunity to meet you, have conversations with you. We're going to hopefully be doing some cool stuff with the Ladies Shock Squad. My high school football coach a few years ago, I'm not young.
I was gonna say.
My high school football coach was Weston Sharts, who is
Yeah.
the high school football coach at Cape and Mount Carmel
Oh,
today.
really? Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's
so
crazy.
so my high school football coach is her brother's high school football
Okay,
coach
wow.
today. And in football,
Crazy connection, yeah.
in football, I never got yelled at by Coach Sharts in football because I was pretty intelligent in football, but I was a good baseball player, but man, he chewed on me in baseball.
He was your baseball coach
Woo,
too.
yeah,
Okay.
yep. But
That's
yeah, so
funny.
small
Yeah,
world
Coach
with
Sharts
that.
is great.
Yeah, he's a good dude.
Coach Sharts is
Very
awesome.
cool.
Yeah,
Yes, he is.
and he's been, and Brad doesn't know this, but he got hired at West High when he was like 25, and
Oh,
West
really?
was downtrodden in football and built up so that my sophomore year, West won City League my sophomore and senior year, and that was the first time that West had won
Really?
in decades, I think.
Wow.
Yeah.
And so he built West up, and then he eventually left and went to Northwest, and then he came back to West, and then now he's at Capon, and
Amazing.
He's
and
been all over
Capon's
the place. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean these guys have crazy amounts of people going into weights and stuff. So
Yeah, that's awesome.
well, hey, we want to kind of wind things down here a little bit. So we've got
Okay.
just a question related to NIL,
Yep.
and kind of just want to know what your experience has been with NIL prior to us reaching out, and then kind of what some of your first thoughts were when we kind of told you what we were doing with the Lady Shock Squad.
Yeah, definitely. So I think I've told you guys I have had very minimal NIL experience up to the past couple of months, as when it's
Mm-hmm.
really
Yeah,
started picking
yeah,
up for me. Um, so I think that for a long time, everybody was just trying to figure out what's going on. What can we
Right.
do?
yep,
What are we allowed to do? What are the parameters? What are the rules? And then
Mm-hmm.
nobody really knew what the rules were, or if you were doing something, if you were going to break a rule, because it was very kind of gray
yeah,
area.
Right.
So like I said, it's all kind of picking up for me in the past couple of months. Some of my favorite things to do have just been doing events with the community,
Mm-hmm.
going out, meeting people, especially meeting little kids that are just so excited to meet me as a basketball player at Wichita State.
yeah,
It's a very humbling and exciting experience
Especially when you're
to
from
have somebody.
Wichita.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Awesome.
Definitely. So that's been a lot of fun. And then talking to you guys, I really like your vision. I really appreciate what you're trying to do for female athletics and for female athletes. And so I really appreciate that. And I really want to be a part of it. So
That's amazing.
yeah.
I'm
We're
You
excited.
know, I was talking with an educator out here who she has a podcasting class, and her and I were talking about stuff. But she's got younger daughters, and she is a huge softball mom, and
Oh, yeah.
then she coaches junior high girls basketball. And she also loves volleyball, and so her and I were talking about these
yeah,
podcasts that we've been doing, and I just I mentioned to her, I said, just picking her brain, I'm like, what do you think about a membership thing? What do you think about, and she about went through the roof. Like she was like, you are doing this for women?
yeah,
My daughters will think you are the two coolest people that have ever,
yeah.
that
Yeah,
if
of
you can do
course.
this. And she's
What?
like, what if if we go to games, do you think you could get an athlete to say hi to us? And I said, well, here's the deal. I said,
Yeah.
this is what's awesome about women and women's athletics is we don't have to get them
Yeah,
to do
they're gonna
stuff
do
for
it
you.
anyway.
Like they
Yeah,
want
of
to.
course.
Yeah,
You
Definitely.
yeah,
know, and when you said doing stuff out in the
yeah,
community and whatnot, we've been talking about this marketing thing about like this idea of we are Wichita, because
I
you
like
guys
that a
live
lot.
there, yeah, and we're still going to work on it. Something we're going to talk about in
yeah.
our advisory board. So a little pre
Great.
whatever that word is. I don't know,
Yeah.
I just went blank there. But anyway, just talking to her, and she was just like, you put me down for whatever membership we need.
Oh,
Whatever
that's
gets us
awesome.
the most stuff.
Yeah.
That's what she said. And
Yeah.
she
That's so
was,
exciting.
and she's just, I mean, one of,
We think it's gonna. I
yeah,
mean,
we think
we're
it's
hoping
gonna
it
blow up.
explodes. Like that's what we want because that's
Yeah.
gonna be best to get you guys some more NIL opportunities
Yep,
and
yep.
Of course,
interaction with
yeah, that
people in
would
the
be great.
community and all of that.
Yeah,
So
and then also
Yeah.
helping with some other things that allow you to be successful even when you're done. When you're done with your playing career and whatnot.
Yeah,
And
for
so
sure.
hopefully it's after a 15-year WNBA career. Don't get me wrong. Okay. But just being a part of that. So that's
Yeah.
exciting. Exciting.
Cool.
well, we're gonna move into the last segment here, and the last segment is the random 4 questions. So Brad has
goodness,
4
okay.
random questions that he will
5.
ask. Oh, we got 5.
Yeah.
You get 5 random questions. So
Yeah.
Okay.
5 random
Well,
questions he's gonna ask. So go for it, Brad.
Okay. And I will admit this one might be tough, but I'm going to start with
oh
it
no.
because I did the same thing to Sydney. I asked Sid
Okay.
McKinney. I asked her the same first question, and yours might be a little bit tough just because of your height. So,
Ooh,
Okay.
so
I
here
didn't
we
think
go.
about. Yeah.
So who'd play you in a movie?
That's a good one.
Oh, I don't know. The tough part is I don't know actors and actresses very well either.
Mhm.
Um,
which is another good thing because it means she's not watching
I
TV
know.
and she's honing her skills.
Paying attention to.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well,
I don't want to say skip, but I don't know if I have an answer for you right now.
I'll help you out.
Who are you gonna say?
Here's what I'm thinking. So have you seen A League of Their Own?
Yeah. Oh, you're thinking exactly what I was thinking.
So Gina Davis,
Yeah.
who's also kind of tall,
Yep.
and I mean, she looked like she must be ridiculously athletic.
Yeah.
The way she was swinging that bat and stuff like that. Now, part of the problem, I think she's 60.
Yeah.
So that maybe,
whoever young Gina Davis
Gina
is.
Davis in her prime.
Slight issue.
Yes.
Yeah.
It could have.
Okay, great. We'll go with that one.
We'll go with that one.
Okay, I'll trust you on that one.
I might have to take that one out of the rotation.
Nah,
it's tricky.
Sid struggled with that one too.
I thought it was good.
So if you could ask one person one question and they had to answer truthfully, who and what would you ask?
Oh, that's a great question too. I think if I could ask one person one question, I would just want to sit down with Jesus, honestly. But I can't say that I would just have one question.
Oh,
So
my goodness, I know.
that's my answer, but
Yep.
I can't hone it down to one question.
Yeah.
No, I agree. And I love hearing that about your faith. My faith is extremely important to me too. And there's,
Definitely.
I think in my prayer life, I have a ton of questions.
Yeah.
Where I'm
Yeah.
like, this does not
Every
make
day.
sense. Yeah, like what is going on? So
Yeah.
I love that. I actually had kind of an idea that you might say that. So that was.
I
pretty cool.
can't pass up that opportunity.
Right. No, I love it. Okay, so here's the next one. What's the best piece of advice you've ever been given?
Best piece of advice. I would say there's a couple of things. I have amazing parents. I do have amazing parents. I'm so blessed with them, and they've just guided me my whole life. So I think from a young age, they taught me to appreciate my height, be proud of my height, be
Oh, yeah.
confident.
'Cause it's
So I
awkward
really
at
think
times. Yeah.
it can be, yeah.
Yeah. No, I get it.
So I think that is something that's really shaped me as a person. Um, and just everything they've done to help guide me. Again, not specific advice, but just my parents in general. They like you guys know, I go to them for everything, very close to them. And without their guidance in my life, I don't think I'd be the person that I am today. Not even close. So yeah, very appreciative of them.
I love that. I may just cut this piece out and send it to my kids and be like,
Yeah.
Could you ever say something like this about me?
Could you
Please?
tell people you like me?
Right.
My name is Brad. I'm your dad.
Right.
Remember?
Yeah. What do you think? I've done a lot for you, I feel like.
Oh my gosh.
That's great.
Oh, that's funny.
Okay, so are you a fan of Marvel and or superhero movies or?
Yeah, I do like Marvel movies.
Okay,
I like watching them with my brothers for sure.
There you go. So then this is where the question will go. Who is your favorite Marvel superhero?
Favorite Marvel superhero? I would say I have a couple, and I don't have reasons why.
DC Comics too.
Yeah.
So just your favorite.
I don't. No, I'm definitely a Marvel girl.
So am I.
I would say I have a few favorites, but I don't have a reason why.
Okay.
Captain America, Black Widow, and then I've loved how they've incorporated Spider-Man in the Marvel movies, like with the Avengers. So
yep, I love that.
Yeah, there we go.
I have my oldest daughter is 20. Oh my goodness, I have a lot of kids, so sometimes I have to do mental math.
He does.
Yeah, I have 7, and so she is 24 right now, and she would also say Captain America, and she would have a very specific reason because he's hot.
Yeah,
that's what she used to have a Captain America poster in her room.
Oh my gosh, that's hysterical.
Junior high and high school, yeah. And we got a dog once, a little Shih Tzu dog, and its name was Captain.
Oh my god!
For Captain America.
That's hilarious.
So
oh
funny.
My goodness.
All right, so one more question. This is a
Okay.
fun one. If there was a sandwich named after you, what would be on it? What would be the Ella?
There would be turkey, provolone cheese,
Nice.
lettuce,
Yes.
mayo,
Mm-hmm.
Good.
cucumber,
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
maybe bacon, but
Yeah.
usually I don't put bacon if I have cucumber because it's a weird combo.
Okay.
Yeah.
What kind of bread?
Yeah. Either white or wheat.
Okay.
It depends what kind of mood I'm in.
So nothing
Yeah.
fancy like sourdough
Well,
or.
yeah, sourdough's great for like a
Mhm.
toasted sandwich, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I
But
agree.
usually if I'm eating at the Wichita State Shocker Hall
Mhm.
cafeteria,
Yep.
they have croissants,
Oh
like
yeah.
round croissants.
Oh, that would be good.
So those are great.
Yep. I
So
may have to eat over
yeah,
there then.
we could have a few different
There
options.
you go. I love that. I love that.
Awesome. Well, Ella, tell everybody where they can find you on social media and what you like to do when you're
Okay.
not doing basketball things.
Yeah. Well, when I'm not playing basketball, I mean, honestly, basketball takes up a lot of my time. But when I'm not playing basketball, I love being with my family. I love that I'm close. I can go to my siblings'
Mhm.
sporting
Mhm.
events. Love spending time with my friends. We always find something to do.
Yep.
I love going fishing, all the things. Love being outside. So my social medias, I have my Instagram is ella.ancio13,
Nice.
and Twitter's the same, except for instead of a dot, it's an underscore, I believe.
Okay.
So yeah, those are probably my two most used. Um, yeah, that's my social media, and that's me. So thank you so
Oh,
much for having
and
me on.
yeah, and real quick trivia.
Yeah.
Ella was
Okay.
the very first, so in the history of Paladin Strategies, Ella was the very first athlete who followed us back on social media.
Nice.
The
Yep. There we
very
go.
first one. Like 15 minutes.
It's got to be like
after
an
I said
award or
something.
Wow.
something.
Yeah, like all of a
Wow. I
sudden.
didn't even know that.
Yeah, because I was just like,
He's a
what was-
creeper.
Yeah, no, I was just like, yeah, we'll just see how this goes and whatnot. We'll just start, kind of putting it out there that this is who Paladin Strategies is.
Yeah.
Follow some
Yeah.
athletes.
Yeah.
And boom, pops up Ella.
There we
And I
go.
was
Yeah.
like,
I think I
"Woo."
remember
Nice.
seeing it, and I was like, NIL.
What?
I was like,
Who
okay,
are
I'm
these? What is
intrigued. We'll
this?
Yeah,
What
we'll
is
see.
this?
We'll see
Yes.
what it ends up being. And
Love
here
it.
we are.
65 months later.
yeah, and here
Yeah.
we are. Oh my
Yeah.
goodness, that's great.
Awesome.
Well, happy to be here. So thank you
No.
again.
Well, thanks for your time, Ella. We're going to leave with this cool
Aw.
picture up right there. So we
Yes.
appreciate you being here and being part of the Ladies
That's
Shock
great.
Squad podcast. And we look forward to
Absolutely.
working with you more as part of the Ladies Shock Squad.
Yeah, definitely. I'm excited as well.
right.
Thank you.
All right.
Have a good day. We'll
Yep.
see you. Thanks,
We'll
Ella.
see ya.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Yep.
All right, so that was Ella Anciaux, and we are
Yeah.
glad to have her.
Oh,
And
So
I mean,
well
just
spoken
yeah,
and just Wichita. You should be proud.
yeah.
We are Wichita right there.
Oh man, and I just we are Wichita, and just the family piece, like so
Yeah.
super cool,
Yep.
super cool, yeah. So hey, if you're not a member yet, join today at ladiesshocksquad.com. Our members get podcast early access to the podcast, so they get those first along with other content from the athletes, and more importantly, you get to support women's athletics when it comes to NIL deals and help us close that gap between men's and women's athletics specific to NIL stuff. So join today. Brad, you got any final thoughts?
These podcasts have been a blast.
Yeah.
And I'm just blown away by how well spoken. Not that I'm surprised that they're well spoken, but
Yeah.
I mean they are. Like I can't imagine at the same age
Yeah.
having someone.
Yeah.
I'd be like, okay,
Yeah.
and just so well spoken. All three of these athletes that we've talked to so far, and we've got some more lined up down
Yes.
the line, including
Yes.
a Wichita State coach.
And I can't.
Who has expressed some interest? I
Yeah.
don't know. Can we? Let
No,
them
it's got to be a secret.
Okay.
Gotta
All
be a
right.
secret.
All right. So,
But
exciting. It's just fun. These are
Yeah.
so much fun.
And I agree. I mean, this has been great, and getting to learn more about each of the ladies, and
Yeah.
understanding that some. And I
their sports.
so can't wait to surprise.
And their sports.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
I can't wait to surprise Clara with
Yeah,
that picture.
she's gonna be
That's
like,
gonna be
"Where
awesome.
did you get that?"
Awesome.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate you guys being here with us today again on the Ladies Shock Squad podcast, brought to you by Paladin Strategies. Make sure and check them out, ladiesshocksquad.com, or visit us at paladinstrategies.org as we continue to find causes that we can support through NIL. So appreciate you again. We'll see you next time. This is Brad and Chad signing off from the Ladies Shock Squad podcast.
Peace.